to meeting. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is enough for a quorum, and 2 people are on the way. Oh, there's Mike. Ron and Ray should be here soon. So we're going to call this to order. And this is another workshop meeting that we're going to be looking at gathering our data, putting it together. I know that the committee to reach out to the town went and visited. Ray's not here, but Martha and Rick are, and there's Amy. You can sit anywhere, Amy. They're going to be telling us about, what happened and what information they got from them. So I think that's going to be the first point in our meeting.
Okay.
Here you go, Mike.
Good, how are you?
All right, who wants to go first, Martha or Rick? We'll all fight over it.
No, I don't care. I'll
Yeah,
go.
I have a presentation of our findings ready for you.
Okay.
I was told it was uploaded on the computer.
Yeah. Do you know how to do that?
No, it
Okay.
can't be that hard. I mean,
Okay. Well, Kirby said she uploaded the whole thing, so we just have to get into it.
keep talking. You talk about something.
Okay.
while I'm-
Okay.
Oh, here it is, I think. Okay, the first one says Londonderry government buildings and energy use. Is that right, Rick?
That's correct.
Okay, I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna sit here and try to do this, okay, guys?
Appreciate it.
I brought my glasses with me.
I can't see that.
Yeah, enter the password console.
Rick, you might
Click
be
on console,
better
and
off
then the
sitting at
password
that
is console,
table
all
right there.
lowercase.
That was,
Rick,
How to do computer well? Yes.
Rick,
Over here. Anybody who can run these things better than me.
the password's console.
Reduce, no?
Lowercase.
Optimize.
Okay.
You go to.
Where do you want me to sit? Right here?
I guess they don't show up
Look at
on
the
our
bottom.
screens here, huh?
There's a little.
well, we have the television screens, we have this, we could go out to the audience and sit and look at this.
Good.
She's gonna. I got you guys.
I need,
Okay.
I need to call up the file called summary report.
What's the icon to click on?
Oh, yeah, you guys should be able to see it on
I
here.
was just gonna say, you have to,
To the microphone.
Just, whoops, back up.
Is it easier for you to sit there?
Delete it.
I need to
Just,
call up the
Type in the word council.
file called Londonderry
Did you guys hear
Utility
me?
Consolidated.
I got it.
You got it?
Well, but how do we get
That
to
could be it. Let's see what
How do
we
we
the,
get
got.
to that? What's the icon?
the menu?
Can you upload?
How do we get there? That's a good question.
Let's just do this. I'll experiment.
That's okay, right? If I come down here and watch it?
Yeah, I don't see why it's an issue.
Okay.
You could sit here and
Is it a
spin your
capital
chair,
C?
but whatever is convenient.
is it a capital C?
No, it doesn't matter.
C.
It does matter, it's lowercase.
Found something. What'd you find?
Yeah, I found a bunch of stuff, just in the file explorer, just down here.
Okay.
I must
I'm
not be
finding
spelling it
ener-
right.
Energy committee.
I can open all of these if you want to take a look and see.
So I did lowercase, so it was just,
I'm just
it's
clicking on all the icons, see what comes up.
COUNCIL.
Yeah, I
That's
don't-
why I said
Can that be the answer?
COUNCIL.
Enter.
Enter.
Oh,
Okay.
We just need to find out where she
Okay.
got to the,
the caps lock on?
Yep, it's off.
That was my question. What icon? Where was
Amy,
that?
how did you get to where you're at there?
Right, okay, I don't have the summary
Well,
report.
I guess you can't look at it there, but there it is up on the computer. You can either sit in the audience or,
I think she
Wherever
loaded it only onto that computer, maybe.
Oh, that's fine.
No, but if it's on that one,
Oh, if it's on that one, it's on these? Okay.
she should be able to send it to ours.
Okay, so let me start off here. Our subtask,
Okay.
I did lowercase.
our subpanel was tasked with
Yeah.
finding 4
Oh my God. you're
criteria. Can I have the floor, please?
Convenient.
May I have,
It's okay.
may I have the floor, please?
Sorry.
Thank you. Our subpanel was tasked with 4 criteria to find the total energy usage, annual usage, for both the school buildings and the town buildings. And that's what we did. We came up with a total annual energy kilowatt hour consumption for the town buildings and the school buildings. And they are roughly just about equal, about around 1.5 million kilowatt hours per year. Now, the reason why that data is important, that's not up on the screen. The reason why that data is important is because that, when the Energy Committee meets with a solar provider, they're going to take the kilowatt hour usage for both entities, lump them together, and from that, they can figure out the size of the solar array they need to put in. The second thing we were tasked to do was to get the total annual electric costs for both the town buildings and the school district buildings. And we did that. And we came up with how much the total electrical costs were annualized for a year. Now, the reason why that's important is because once we talk to an array provider, they can tell us how much of that is energy credits. They have formulas. I figured out it's roughly about 70% of the total bills is what you get back in energy credits. So if we're looking at a combined, it's $1.1 million. We're looking at a combined total electric cost for both the school and the town districts. Now, if you take 70% of that, that's about $700,000. These are just rough figures, okay? That's, we're getting back every year $700,000 in energy credits. Our solar array is paying for that amount of money. Again, this will have to all be finalized and checked. These are just rough figures. But that's why we calculated the total cost for energy. The energy array provider can now, give us a lot better figures when we get more accurate figures coming in.
So the 70% figure is over a lifetime of a solar array, or?
This is just a generalized, let me explain how I got that figure, because it's a little bit complicated. I was going to try to just lightly cover this, but when you get your electric bill, it's divided into two parts. It's divided into the energy portion, how much you're paying the energy provider, and the other portion of your invoice is what's called transmission and distribution. That's whatever source is charged you to use their lines to transport your electricity. The T&D, the transmission and distribution, is not refundable. It's only the metered energy that you get your rebate on. And what I did is when I took the school district invoices, I did a whole year's worth of invoices for the school, everything. And I broke it down into total electric cost, energy cost, how much of that was actually the energy portion of the bill. And that's how I got my 70%, is I took the energy portion of the bill, compared it to the total cost, and I said, roughly, these are averages, statistical averages, looks like about 70% of our bill is going to be refundable. Keep in mind, whenever you have a solar array, some of that credit is eaten up by the installation costs, which are amortized over probably a 20-year period, operations and maintenance. So you do have to deduct that stuff, your operating cost, out of whatever's left over that you're going to get as an energy rebate.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
okay. Did I explain that pretty good?
Yeah, you're doing a good job.
Good, okay.
We
Now,
don't have any more slides or the thing? We
Not
can't
for
get
what
the-
he's presenting right now.
this somehow didn't get entered in.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, one of the things that fell out of this is that we also did all the energy summations for alternate fuels, whatever we have, natural gas, propane, and one time fuel oil. And I also took some of the actual invoices. Let's call this up on the screen if we can. Can we go through there? No. It's not on there anywhere. What I did is I took some of the invoices from natural gas, propane, electricity, and I converted everything to a standard denominator, which is dollars per million BTU of heating. So I was able to get I'm sorry, it's not up on the screen. I was able to get for people to make a comparison. How much does your electricity cost to actually heat a building for the BTUs delivered? And you can compare apples to apples. And what's interesting is electricity here now can be a viable option to propane. When some of these sites picked propane 20 years ago, it was cheap. And now, for example, Bob Carey is the lead on this for the town. He's really the innovator. He's taken several of his pump stations, which are heated by propane, and he is actively, he's got projects to switch over to heat pumps with diesel generator backups. And this committee has to follow whatever he's doing and pay attention to what he's doing, because whatever results he's seeing there directly pass over into other propane sites. Now, here's the real interesting thing. Just the heat pump alone can be cheaper than heating with propane. But you get the added bonus. Once you go in with a solar array, propane's not deductible. Propane costs are not deductible in that energy read. They're not electricity. So by switching over to electric heat pumps, you're now getting all that energy usage paid for by your solar array. And it makes your heat pump installation even better. So we really got to pay attention to what Bob's doing, because it's going to be a trendsetter for the other few places we have that propane heat. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to say that I really got to compliment the town officials here. They're sharp, they're dedicated, especially Dave Hawley. We haven't met the person over in the school district that's in charge of maintenance and facilities. But I think overall, the town has really done a good job to try to update their systems whenever possible or economically feasible. Martha, that's about all I have to say. Do you have anything?
I just have more sort of general details about our meetings with several people. Unfortunately, during this whole process, Rick caught COVID and wasn't able to attend some of the meetings, so Ray and I did go to those meetings. And I have to counter what Rick said, that the employees that we met with were very impressive and really have sort of this in the forefront of their minds in terms of energy savings. I won't say that they have a solar array necessarily yet, but they're looking for ways to save energy for sure. So we met with the police department. And at the police department, we met with Kim Bernard and J.R. Valenti, who is their maintenance guy over there. And they told us that all of the buildings that the fire station use have been outfitted with LED lighting. That was done. They also have these HEPA filters that they installed there. Now, I don't know if Justin, the question I have for Justin still is, did the HEPA filters get paid for with the COVID money that the town got? Hopefully they did, but the police station 24/7 during the whole COVID period, they needed those to keep the officers and people who came into the building safe. Both buildings that they use, which is the animal control building behind the police station, sort of in the end of this parking lot here for the town hall, and the police station, they use natural gas, forced hot water, runs through the HVAC system, which also runs through a heat pump that's part of the HVAC system. That's what he said, how that at least they get the heat. And excuse me if I'm not technically perfect, because I'm not an engineer. They also said that the way the bills are reviewed is that the bills do come into the station and they're reviewed, and then they go to Justin for payment. But because there's been problems with the town and the utilities with threatening to shut off power, that the bills go right to Justin. They get reviewed in the meantime, but Justin pays them anyway. And I'm assuming that if there's any adjustments that have to be made, that's made after the bill is paid. There's a lot of glass in that police station. So we talked a little bit about the solar panels on the roof and whatnot, and they basically said that didn't work out when they looked into that. And several people have said that when it was all discussed, they objected to the look of having solar panels, going across all the buildings that face Mammoth Road. They thought aesthetically that was not the best thing. So they have done to cut down on the cooling and the heating is that they've tinted some windows in the police station, and they intend to, in the stairways, they intend to do some more of that tinting because they get like boiling hot in there. J.R. Valenti, who's their maintenance person, they do have a control system in the building, and J.R. can control all of the temperatures from his computer. So that's a good thing. Obviously, according to the town rules, all bids for any kind of work that are over $10,000 or more go out to bid. According to Kim Bernard, he said that the approximate amount is $6,000 per month that they pay, but the building's open 24/7. It's constantly in operation. The other thing that we learned from the next people that we talked to, which were the deputy fire chief, Fred Heinrich, and his maintenance person is Chris Patton, who is also a firefighter in town. And he's kind of playing catch up because there was a guy, do you know who the guy was before? I want to think of his name. John, I see you in the background there. Do you know the guy at the fire station that used to handle the maintenance, who recently retired? Or Kevin Zim, that's correct. So this guy Patton's taken over that job, and he's trying to catch up and figure it all out. And they told me that all of the fuel for all the vehicles in town is behind the fire station, and that they also reuse the oil, and that goes down to DPW building on High Range Road, and that helps heat that building. So they're already doing that. Dave Woolley, in part of his conversations, because we also met with Dave Woolley, he said that he is looking at possibly doing some work at the DPW to update it if it's possible to do that. It's not, it's totally not done yet, but he would like to do that, in which case he would like to put underground fuel tanks in at the DPW station, which would then be sort of a centralized location to fuel all town vehicles. The Central and North Station have computer-controlled HVAC, but they're not the same system. And the South Station has no computer control there. But the other thing that they're all looking into, because Fred and Dave and everybody's talked about this, is to get all of those buildings onto a central control system that would, whether it's Dave Woolley who will look at that, or whether it's, would be a shared program, I don't know. But Dave Woolley said that he's looked into it, and that the system that they're looking at would be compatible with all of these different systems that are already installed, some of which have, some of which don't, and they're compatible, and there wouldn't be any kind of proprietary issue that, okay. Let me see. Oh, and the other thing about the underground fuel tanks is the fuel tank that is behind the fire station is fueled by, presently fueled by Eastern Propane and oil. And the tanks aren't, that whatever they fill there isn't that big, so they need frequent delivery. So that's another reason why he would like to make that change. He said the North Station does have some working solar panels, but when they built the North Station, it was supposedly built with, I think, grant funds that were make a green building. So that's why some solar panels were put on that building, but they're not sufficient to take care of the entire building. And they're probably approximately 10 years old. But he says that they, to his knowledge, they are working. Obviously, they try to do all preventative maintenance that they can do themselves. Oh, the other thing Dave Woolley mentioned, because he was in on this meeting with the fire department too, is that they are hoping to establish some kind of central vendor list, so that every time that they need a vendor in town, they're all dealing with the same person. And there'd be communication about that. Now, the South Station runs on propane. So we talked about there's a possibility of connecting that to natural gas, which is fairly nearby. And when Rick pointed out the cost of propane being so high, and possibly natural gas might be a better deal right now, he said that the line there was Liberty Utility, which is right here in town. So I called Liberty, and I had put in my request for some information, and I had a guy get back to me. And he told me that he had actually done a research of this prior and given it to John Trottier. Why they didn't do it at that time, I don't know. And I wasn't able to get a hold of John Trottier before this meeting. But what he sent to me were the plans that he sent to John Trottier. And then I said, well, you know, is there any way that you can give me a ballpark cost of what it would cost for us to hook up? And according to him, at the time that they did this for John Trottier, it was like 1,400, and now he gives me a price of 2,000, which, you know, that's short money, really, if that's the actual case. They go through the same review of the bills. Whoever's in charge of the building will look, like, probably the fire chief will look through all the bills, and he okays them, but they're all paid by Justin Campo in the finance department here. And as Rick said, the Bob Carey, we've been unable to meet with him up until this point, but he did say that he's very interested in these heat pumps, and he's looking into it, and I have to agree with Rick that it seems like that would be maybe a cost savings for the town. But you know, our feeling so far, I haven't gotten a chance yet to meet with the school people. I intend to do that. Maybe Amy, you can do that with me. This central control system to be able to control the heat and cooling in the building, which is something that Dave Woolley is very interested in. I mean, there's programs that, you know, you just go on your cell phone and you can do it. He seems to think that would be a very good first start. I think he told us that when he came to our meeting. And I'm not sure how much that would cost, but that seemed like a nice starting point with the town. Because I don't know if we're ready to jump into a solar array right at this moment. I have no idea. I mean, there are some concerns that, Rick, you even mentioned about hooking into the power. You seem to have found, or think that you found a way to make that a little less expensive for the town. I don't know, that's about.
I think that, was Alan from the school said that they have like that already in the school, and Dave Woolley said that he wanted to mimic and even piggyback on their system, and that those two were gonna be talking.
Good.
I don't know where that stands. We haven't had another update from Dave, but, you know, hopefully he can come back and tell us how that progressed with the schools, because, you know, we've got the system on this side. Now we need to kind of think about putting it on this side, and maybe if it's the same company, we could negotiate a better deal, because it'd be all one, and this way they, you know, probably would share the controlling aspects of it, which would be good, I think. And I do
Well,
understand
it could
having
be
it.
shared. I mean, I think that it could be shared and probably should be. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't want to put a whole
No.
another
No,
layer
no,
burden
no,
on
no.
Dave
I'm
Woolley.
just saying that it can be, so say something happened and we haven't found anybody, at least Dave can
Somebody-
step in, or vice versa, if Dave got sick,
Somebody-
Alan could step in, at least two
somebody-
people would have
Yeah.
a backup system. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be just one person, it
Right.
should be cross-trained at
Well, yeah,
least.
anything
be
that
able to help each other.
anything that's installed, I think that that's a very good idea, that
Yeah.
there's needs to be training on how to use it.
Yes.
And, you know,
And that would
which,
include police and fire, because as we heard, the biggest savings Derry found was the simple training of these maintenance men to know how to use
Correct.
the system correctly
correct.
and not incorrectly, that they were losing a lot of money because of the
And I think it's
way
important
it was set up.
to know that what, at least how it was described to Ray and I in our meetings, is that this program that he's looking at, he's already looking at, you know, this type of program would be compatible with these other systems that already do exist in the police department and in some of the fire departments.
Okay. Ray came in late, So Ray, do you have anything that when you went to speak and part of your team, you went to speak with a few people, any notes or memorable moments or things you'd like to share that you might have learned? I mean, Martha did go through everything, fire, police, and Rick went through all the bills and the cost savings and how that would work. So, I mean, if you have something to add, would be welcome to listen to it.
Okay, well, I'm not sure I have much to add. I mean, Martha and I have spent quite a bit of time, meeting with these folks in town. And by the way, the folks in town, for the most part, when I say, are doing a damn good job.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
That's good to hear,
Right.
right?
As Rick.
Yeah,
Rick said the same thing. So.
yeah, and wait a minute, we're learning from them,
Absolutely.
For sure.
So, and none of us are experts on all of this,
Yeah, no, we're all learning and
You know.
we're trying to figure out a better way.
and so, if we can assist in possibly reducing costs to the taxpayer, to the town, to the schools, absolutely. One thing that was brought up when we had the discussion with the fire department, with Dave Wally, I believe Martha asked some questions about the different fire stations, and apparently the South Station is powered by propane. I don't know if, did you already go over that?
I did talk about that a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so we're looking to talk to Liberty about that with the fire department. We want to, when we meet with them, take, what was the fellow's name? JR, what?
Yeah, at the, Chris Patton. was
Chris
their-
Patton, right. So he's the maintenance guy for, really, all three stations.
The fire, all three
He's kind of taken that over.
Yeah.
And, getting up to speed from that because I think Kevin then
Zims, yeah.
retired.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's something to look at because of the cost of propane. And where natural gas goes right by there, it would be a good idea perhaps
Right.
to look at
It would
that.
be prudent for us as a town to make sure we're
Well-
doing the right thing and to look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Yes,
I got a question on that.
yes, Bob.
Why would DPW even consider going or continuing to use or expanding the tank to accommodate more propane or natural gas or whatever, when we're looking at going solar, which would replace that altogether? Why make that expenditure if you don't need to?
Well,
Because right
the
down the road, it's a
fuel-
short-term fix maybe.
The fuel is for the vehicles in town, unless all the
Well,
vehicles
that's
go
another avenue
electric.
we kind of discussed.
Right, but by the
whether-
time we get to all vehicles in the town, like the big vehicles, I don't see that happening
Well, it would be,
very soon.
yeah,
I mean,
but
we even
long-term-
saw that presentation and,
long-term wise.
yeah. Yeah, no, but at least we're having the conversation and it's on their radar. And so they can plan
Understand.
for it.
Thought I'd just bring up the point. The other question I have is, what facilities, town facilities, have not as yet gone LED or energy efficient lighting? Have they all,
They told me
Pretty much all.
everything?
That's what I was told.
Okay,
Yeah.
On the town side.
Yeah.
on town side.
And I believe the school
The town
has
has-
most of it's done, right? Not all of it, but they're looking at some lights. I remember that was like up on
We
one of the,
are, yes, and then there's some supply chain issues with actually receiving them.
surprise.
Right?
But the other, good thing about talking to these town employees, is to find out what they have already done. And, they've done, more than what appears to the,
The average
general-
person.
Generally in
We
the
don't
city.
want to be rehashing things that have already been done, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so, if the town has already done a lighting, we don't need to talk about that, and other things. I mean, the town has done a lot in the past, but we're in a new, we're in a new
Error.
yeah, thank you. And so, what happened last year in 2021, 22, 23, could be really different. So,
Agreed.
Where we can cut cost, the town, the taxpayer, we really need to talk. Yeah, another thing is, I kind of go back to, I would like to know who in the town is talking directly with Eversource, with Penachuk. I mean, now, wait a minute, let's not get into water here, but the cost of electricity, as we know, is going through the roof. And when we are paying AES money for, because supposedly we overcharged them, we're talking about Calpine here. We're talking about the big guys. And the fact that Eversource comes into a town council meeting, I believe it was a town council meeting, wasn't, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So
It was when you brought him in, Doug, I think is what he's
yeah,
talking
in
about.
regards to the blackout thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, that was kind of, really? Really?
I think everybody on the council was very surprised at
Right,
what we
you know,
heard.
and so, if that's the situation,
And after you speak, I'll let Doug address that. Go ahead.
yeah, so I think somebody from the town needs to be, well, who would that be? Wait a minute, I guess it would be the town manager or perhaps the town council. But I think that talk needs to take place. Whether that,
What,
A talk between Eversource
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
town and why, about using Granite Ridge and things like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
How we
Because
can be more
basically,
efficient.
okay.
You know,
all right.
basically, and Doug, you probably know better than I do, but the Granite Ridge, is it a prime power, or is it, do they just fire it up when ISO New England says, hey, you gotta put that online?
Oh, that's interesting.
So is
All
it
the above,
peaking?
really. All the above, really. They're the second largest generator of power in New Hampshire.
In the country? Yeah, absolutely, yeah, outside of the nuclear plant in
All right,
Seabrook.
so just
What?
let him finish the question. Let him answer what he was answering before we go to the
Okay,
next
I'm sorry,
topic.
go ahead.
What was the question again?
You were talking about whether or not the power plant was on demand, and how that worked.
All of the power plants are on demand in generic terms. For instance, the Seabrook nuclear plant, except for every 18 months, they go down for a month for maintenance. The Seabrook nuclear runs 98% of the time, 98% capacity, 100% of the time, because they're always on. Once you turn it on, you don't turn it off again because it's a problem turning it off. But they run constantly, but that's not enough. So gas natural gas accounts for about 65 to 66% of the power generated throughout all of New England. I could look up now to see how much it's generating, but it depends on the time of day, weather, temperature, and so forth. So I would suspect that Calpine operates pretty much a lot of the time because the power is needed. The only time, and there are a couple of other natural gas plants. There was one that was converted from oil to natural gas. I think we have a combination natural gas oil plant somewhere. I think it's up in Bow. Natural gas runs,
plant there.
oil runs very infrequently, maybe a week or two out of the winter, unless it's a very hardcore winter. But Calpine is the primary natural gas plant that provides power. But I think everyone should, and I think this was explained several times, because of the capacity issue in New England, we don't have enough capacity pipe-wise to get gas into New England for what we need. And because of that, the price skyrockets in the wintertime because the first priority of natural gas is heating. Once you cover heating, what's left over would go to making electricity. Companies don't have a problem during the summertime because we don't need the natural gas for heating, so the price of natural gas as a rule is cheaper and it runs to power electricity. In the wintertime, if you need to run Calpine to make electricity, it costs much more money because the capacity is not there. So it's supply and demand. And because they're a business and they don't want to buy high and sell low, they don't need the capacity in the summertime. So in the wintertime, they wait until capacity is needed. But when they do, it costs more just because we don't have enough gas coming in here. So, so that's how Calpine works. So they don't run all the time. They only run when it's profitable. And also if ISO New England says, hey, we see a spike coming, we need to be online, they have a 15-minute window. You have to be online in 15 minutes. And so they have to be constantly ready. Because if they get the call from ISO New England, they have to generate right away. All plants are like that. And because we don't have enough capacity, there are plants like coal and oil that have to stand on standby for just that 15-minute window. So in the dead of winter, if we have a really cold streak, like we did, well, even last year, and it goes on for a week or two, you'll see that maybe 1 or 2 or 3% of the power comes from coal and oil, because they have to make up the difference for the, spike. So that's in a nutshell how it works. Now, to your point about when Eversource briefed us, I think it's very important for people to keep understanding that the electric utility companies have absolutely no control over the price of energy. None whatsoever, because they were divested several years ago. They don't own any power generation plants. They are at the mercy of the private electric generators like Calpine, Seabrook, and so forth. And so whatever the market is requiring the cost to be, and the market is dictated a lot by the global price of natural gas. And as we know, natural gas pipelines were shut off, pipelines weren't built, and Europe is buying more natural gas from the U.S. because they're not buying it from Russia, and they pay much more for it than we do. That spikes the global cost of natural gas, and we suffer because we pay the global price. That's why we have the spike in energy right now, which is debilitating. So because of that, that's why energy has increased, because natural gas price globally has increased, almost doubled.
But I thought that somewhere along the line in these meetings, we were told that Eversource only goes out to buy power on the market twice a year. So they're locked into those time, I don't know how long that time period is, but they're locked in to there. And some of these aggregators that we talk to say, well, we're gonna be able to go out and buy, at different times. We're not gonna be locked in like Eversource.
True, yeah. I mean, yeah, because, now, don't forget Eversource and Liberty and Unitil.
Yep.
And, they're all regulated.
Right.
So they have to follow state law. The aggregators can go out as a private entity and they can buy whenever they want,
Right.
whenever the price is right.
Right,
So, and it's a good deal. If you might save a couple pennies, I guess.
right. And the other thing that I will say is that the town also does purchase from an aggregator. We got that from Dave Woolley as well.
Do you know who that is?
Brian McCourt or something, his
Well,
name
no,
was?
what's the name of the company?
Oh, I got the, well.
Well,
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
change subjects for
Okay,
now.
okay.
So we're kinda got a summary of what's going on. And tonight's meeting is about working with Mr. Spelt and getting, the presentation ready, for both the school and the town to see if they wish us to continue down, the paths that we're going down, gathering data, checking, trying to organize it all into one source, as opposed to, as you see here, it's been throughout different buildings, different, departments, and everything be centralized so that anybody can walk in and say, okay, this has happened and this has been done, which is good. I mean, it's good that we pushed all that data into one area. Now we need to figure out what they want to do with that area, and that is all up to that man over there. And Mike, if you're ready to chit chat, that would be nice.
Well, I sent a draft briefing to the council out to everybody and you had it at the last meeting, and Deb asked that you send comments to me on it, and I got no comments, so
Oh, I
either you
didn't,
loved it or you lost it.
I didn't hear that we were to send
I didn't get
comments
that.
to
Wait
you.
wait a minute,
Nobody got the idea that they were gonna comment back, but we can go through it and comment right now.
what are we
We need to
talking
get
about here?
this done.
Pardon?
We need to get this done for the presentations because we need to do them soon.
What, did Mike present something?
He sent it out and
Sent
people
it
were supposed to respond.
To an email. Do we have a copy of that? Do you have a copy of that?
We have it, and we
You'd
can
like to
kind of
see
go
it.
through it, Mike, page by page, and they can say what they want, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
I'm gonna throw you into the hot spot. I can even actually move.
I'll share it with you. I'll put it on my phone. and-
Oh, okay.
Here's all the records.
No, it'll just
I
be
told
on my.
Martha,
Okay, be well, okay?
consultation.
It's more than
Thank you.
Hey, Rick, before you leave, a quick question, if you don't mind, Madam
Sure.
Chair.
Because I was away from.
So we
Hold
got
on.
this
Hey,
excellent detailed picture of our current usage, cost in kilowatt hours. For planning purposes, how, is there a way that you can think of that we can factor in, from this 1.5 million kilowatt hours, we would expect to add X kilowatt hours for vehicles, Y
Yes,
kilowatt
yes,
hours for heat pumps? I mean, how can we give the council some feel for, what
future.
what that, how that might increment?
That, you're segueing right into what phase two of this study is all about, look at that.
Okay,
And especially with all the electric vehicles,
Yeah,
the charging stations,
yeah.
also heat pump usage,
right.
that'll factor in.
And even though Rick is gonna be leaving the board, and we're gonna miss him because he's been amazing, he really has gone above and beyond as far as a workhorse goes. He is unbelievable. But he said he would stay on and help us and give us whatever he can as input. So that's,
Yeah,
he'll be
I-
watching, eating popcorn.
I haven't really complained about this, but I've had some health problems the last 4 months. Doctors are kind of looking everything's over. It's not life-threatening or anything, but I spent a lot of time on this, and I've got some
No, you've
stuff-
done really an
Yeah.
amazing, he has
I've
done an
got
amazing
some
job.
stuff, I'm meeting with the contractor tomorrow about $3,000 worth of painting, a plumber, another couple.
I get it, I get it.
Your
So
plate is full.
Him as a resource is not necessarily disappearing.
Been fun working with y'all, really.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you,
Thank
Rick.
you very,
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
So, anyway, Mike, do you think it's possible for us to go through what you have?
Yeah, but I mean, how do we get it at?
I mean, we can pass it around, or you can read it, and we can kind of go through it real quick.
Is there a copy machine available?
So-
No.
Could it's the interim report of the Energy Efficiency Task Force.
Right,
Yes.
Okay.
yeah,
wanted
did,
to
I
make
mean,
sure.
Deb mailed it out, right?
She did,
Yeah.
yes.
I did mail it out,
Yeah.
but that's okay. I mean,
Well, the thing is, it might allow people to get into their email and find it, so they'd have it
July
in front of them,
14th.
Um,
the way Amy just did.
July
So she sent it on July 14th.
It was sent on July 14th?
Yes. It was in email.
So I wonder if there's a way to get it up here.
that I could not tell you. I do not, and
don't-
How extensive is
in
it?
essence of
It's-
time, if
I,
we,
didn't we
It's
have
like
it up
10
there
slides.
for
It's like-
one of the
It's like 10
meetings?
slides.
yeah, but I don't know how to find
Uh-huh.
it. I don't know where it is.
Be nice to read.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's-
what did I call it?
Whatever
the name of it?
Oh, your email was called, let me know if you got this.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
no, I mean, what was the name of
the attachment,
Oh, the name of the attachment was interim report,
the interim report?
and it's a PowerPoint, and it was 54 kilobytes.
My email only goes as far as July 26th, so
Tell me,
anything after that
tell me
is gone.
again what
Oh,
date it
good.
was.
July 14th.
So, page one, do you want to kind of do that while everybody's trying to find something?
yeah, I can.
Thank you, Mike.
So page one is the title page, that's not too tough. Page two is activities to date, data gathering, quantify energy usage and costs for municipal and school buildings, review the school's report on a 60 kW system at the middle school. Here, this is just stuff we did, so it should be pretty non-controversial. Here are vendor presentations, New Hampshire Community Power, the 19 New Hampshire towns, Revision Energy with solar installer, Encore, Renewable Energy, another solar installer, Aegis Solar, another solar installer, And I put down XXX Power Management Company. I think that is, now I've lost it again.
Freedom,
Freedom Energy, Freedom Logistics.
they were here July.
Yeah, there's two. There's actually,
I think one was Freedom, but
The other
have
one
you
was
seen that
Choice.
agreement? The Freedom Agreement?
yeah.
I've got it here.
You have the Freedom Agreement?
Yeah.
What's the official name, Ray? Is it Freedom Logistics?
Freedom Logistics LLC Community Choice Aggregation
Yeah.
Consultation Agreement. When did we sign it?
Yeah, we need to
Wait,
pass
let me
these.
see.
2020.
You have-
Everyone needs to get these
Thanks.
documents.
I've sent them out in multiple emails.
Yeah.
So I have it on my phone.
Well, I can't access Outlook, it got corrupted.
So,
The,
I gotta ask, so we have that agreement, we signed it? How
Yeah, I
long is
think
it good for?
And
Kevin
we're-
Smith signed it back in, I think, January of 20.
Are we obligated?
We are.
it's
How
signed
long?
by Kevin Smith in, January of 20.
Yeah, the contract says that we stick with them for, I think, a period of 5 years, and then it's renewable.
So we're currently buying power from them?
However,
No, we're not buying power from them.
we have ability under that contract to cancel the contract with a 6-month notice. So that's why, and this will come up in a later slide, but that's why the advice that, I forgot that these are backsided, that we give the council is somewhat of time sensitive, because the 6-month clock isn't gonna start until we take action to, terminate that contract, or not, in which case, we just let things roll.
So are we buying power from them or not?
No, we're not. They are a consulting company that if we ever get to the point, so this contract was signed in January 20. The PUC only issued the aggregation rules in the last few months, like June, I guess, Doug, does that sound about right?
Even less than
So,
that.
so there was no opportunity to do any kind of buying from them. However, the PUC rules are now in effect, and their parent company, I think, has contacted our town manager and said, okay, we're ready to work up a proposal for you.
Well,
So, the train is starting to chug off out of the station.
is the town ready?
So is it too late to give them notice that
No,
we
it's never
want-
too late.
It's never too late to give them the 6-month notice.
Right.
But I thought he said when he was here that, we would still be obligated to pay him for
Right.
a year or something.
Yeah, respectfully, that is not the opinion of our legal advisors.
Okay, good.
But, I mean,
And I
that may
think
be a
that's supposed
battle
to
that
come
gets,
up at council meeting.
fought out in the court somewhere. But
Okay, all right. Well,
that's the
that's,
town's position.
yeah, okay.
So
okay.
somebody decided this was a good idea.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, yeah,
Is it the best idea?
they presented to town council in, I think, in November or December of 20.
Well,
And then the town manager signed the contract in January 21. I haven't done the search to know if there ever was a town council vote on whether to, telling the councilor, or the manager, go sign it, or if he just happened. I don't know.
Well-
John, can you enlighten us?
All contracts have to be voted on by the town council to authorize the town manager to sign.
So,
was
so
that
there
done?
must have been a vote by the council to,
What?
yeah, okay. Well, there you
What was
go.
that? I'm sorry, repeat
There
that?
was a
It was
meeting,
approved by the town council?
right, yep,
It has been approved.
and,
So-
but, to follow up on Ray's question, sorry, Ray, I'm stepping on your toes.
No, no. Go ahead.
Is Freedom, based upon what we've heard in this, because that was back in 20, we had people here talking about doing a similar thing for us.
Right, as it turns out, that probably was a mistake on our part, because, we didn't at the time even know the existence of this contract.
Right,
But one of the provisions in the contract is that we not talk with any other aggregators.
Oh,
So-
my God.
Which is why we haven't heard any, and I made that aware to Henry Herndon that was the case, and so he's respected that, and we've respected that. But if we want to carry on with this some more, then we'd have to take this action and we'd still have a 6-month delay, which is why I'm saying it could be time sensitive or not if we decide to stick with them.
But,
But it's a little unfortunate because in the
Yeah.
meanwhile, we're wasting time, checking with other aggregators,
right,
when we weren't even aware of this.
Right.
So I have a question, just from my understanding. So this contract was signed
When,
back in 20. Who's the owner, by the way? Do they say the owner on that? The guy in charge?
They're out of Auburn, right?
You mean the name?
the real
the
question is, when
contract.
did this
Who has-
contract
Well,
become effective?
because I think I
Who
know
has
the
the
guy.
contract?
you have it right in front of you.
Yeah, I know, but it,
My point is that they, at the time, I think they were planning to start the irrigation. So, he was probably being very early to get the contract signed. But because of a technicality in the bill that was passed, it took PUC well over a year, and they still didn't have rules because they were in a quagmire. We had to pass another bill just this last year to get them out of that quagmire. That's why irrigation now is possible, but that time lost was because PUC couldn't come up with rules.
so the question,
So does that play into the contract? I mean,
Yeah.
we couldn't do anything for well over a year because PUC didn't have any rules.
Right, but my understanding is the contract was in place. Nothing could happen because we were waiting on the rules.
Right.
But, now the rules are in place and they're moving forward under the terms of the contract,
It's
so.
the 5 years, but the 5 years, about a year and a half of it, or 2 years of it have already been used.
It's
up,
gone,
right?
yeah, right,
Okay.
right.
so the
I
effective
would
date of the
suggest that you
contract,
Meet with the town manager. There's been recent meetings with Bart Froman at.
From, as the guy.
What do I know him?
Without, so that you don't waste any more speculating. I know
Yeah.
there's been meetings. You should probably get an update from the town manager.
Right.
Okay,
Thank you.
well,
So,
Deb, because of this contract we have, it's really irrelevant because it's gonna take some time to get the solar project off and
right,
running.
and
So let's just go along with this freedom thing and not even make waves about it or whatever.
no, but we need you to be aware of it, and
Yeah.
we're gonna move on now to the next thing, and we're gonna present all this to the council, and they're gonna come up with what they want to do as next steps. We're
Yeah, they're-
suggesting, and they,
Well, the question I was gonna ask is, and I think John just elaborated on it, was that what is the actual effective date? Although it states January 21st, 2020, because the rules not being resolved, was there a delay in making this effective contract?
right,
I
right.
don't,
That's what we need to talk
Right.
to the town manager about.
That's a nice.
so we
point.
can't answer that question, so we're gonna move on,
Yeah, okay.
okay?
I just want to point out that our setting up a solar array owned by the town is not incompatible with any of these aggregation schemes.
Right,
That might just be an array that works with some aggregator to, sell their electricity.
right.
So they're two different
Animals.
animals, right?
But in terms of feasibility and immediacy, the solar array is something that is
Down the road.
down the road. I don't think we're anywhere near ready to say, put the solar array here. There's been a lot of talk about the power connection and what that will cost. One thing Rick didn't say before he left, but he had talked to one of the solar guys that came to us. And it was a guy, I think Robert Greer from Encore Energy. And he put in this pre-application for
I don't think so.
setting up some sort of, and I don't know what that means. That piece of paper means nothing to me. I
No.
don't understand it.
Yeah, well, when you,
wanna see it?
when you set up an array, you have to go to Eversource and say, this is what we're thinking of doing, and give them a chance to say, that's never gonna work.
Okay,
And that's kind of what that is. So there's no obligation. He's doing that at his cost, of time and
so can you
Labor.
tell from reading this whether or not it's worth the time or not? Can you tell that from this?
Or do we
well,
have to
not in the
actually
2
call
seconds
the,
that
and we
Deb
probably
has
have to
given
call
me.
the person who created it and ask them.
Okay,
That's the only thing I can think of, because none of us are equipped to
Yeah, I perused
understand
it.
or read that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
perused it rather briefly, and it was Greek to me, as I mentioned to you.
Yeah, I know. I didn't understand it
I,
either.
I haven't understood it.
But
Thank you,
It
Amy.
allows
Thank you.
them to come
Take that
back to us with a
information back
decent
to
bid.
Alan,
Okay.
I will.
and then
I-
jet me an email, and I'll share it with everyone.
And
Uh,
so I apologize, my kids are young, so I go home and I put them to bed. But Martha, I would love to meet with, if you want
The
me to meet
school?
with, yes,
I will give you a call and have you come with us, yeah.
absolutely,
And-
thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Nice
Oh,
meeting you.
Nice to see you.
Amy, are you?
Thank you,
on
Amy.
our,
Yes,
on the list?
I am,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Good night.
good night,
Right.
thank you.
All right.
All right, so
Next.
actually skipped over a slide because I had these double-sided. The second slide is actually the overview. The intent of this interim report is to summarize task force activities to date, which is the one I just covered, current town and school energy uses and costs, which is going to incorporate the work that Rick just did, potential strategies to reduce energy costs, and recommended next step. All right, so that's, and we've talked already now about what is actually slide 3. The last point on that one was review the locations of three-phase power lines relative to the Auburn Road Superfund site. And I think that's probably still ongoing. I don't
Well,
think
that's,
we've.
that's what that is, that
That-
Encore thing.
This is
what
partially
it is.
what this is,
Yeah,
and, but,
But it's Greek to everybody, you know. An engineer, you know, electrical engineer from Eversource understands it. They would have to explain it. Or,
Did you look at it, Doug?
I haven't seen it.
Want to pass it down to Doug since he's the energy guy? See if he can make heads or tails out of the
the,
15-second review.
verbiage.
I thought that what that was to look at the sort of plan that Rick had come up with, that he said that there was another
Way to connect
way
to the,
to connect, rather, you know, that
then the
was
long way,
shorter,
he found a shorter way
a shorter way.
right, right.
that would save a lot of money.
I'm sure if we
distance.
spend some time looking at it, we could answer that.
Okay, well,
I
okay.
think Rick came up with, or rather, who was it, Eversource that made the initial finding? Was like a mile and a half or something? and
I think
cost
it was,
1.3?
Somebody told us.
It was the solar panel company, the first one, the one that
Yeah,
put in
yeah, that's
Derry's solar plant.
It's supposed to be like 1.3 million. and
Yeah.
Rick came up with like 816,000,
Yeah, his was incredible. It was a lot
1
cheap.
mile,
It was a lot
less
less.
than 1 mile.
yeah,
Money.
well, you know, I'm not an expert on this, but, you know, three-phase power, okay? You know, you think of high tension, you know, 4160 or above, I mean, high voltage, right? We're talking about output from the solar panel farm, okay? I don't believe it's that high a voltage, okay? It may be three-phase, fine, but you can put three-phase on a single pole.
I think it had to do with distribution. It had to
Well,
go
it's
through
gotta-
that main thing to get to the distribution. That's what I remember them saying.
It's got to go to a transformer site, okay?
Yeah.
And to change the voltage, either step it up or step it down. And where is that located? You know, it's at least a mile away.
Right.
It's got to come through the woods, you know.
That's what Rick found out, that there was another way to that thing that was a little bit easier to get to or shorter.
Or he thought.
Yeah, well, we don't know. And we're not gonna do that work until the council has said, let's go and let's put in a solar panel. We really can't do any of that right
Yeah,
now.
we got a lot of other things to concentrate.
All right, so we're gonna finish on this.
So slide 4 is just a empty graph, or a spreadsheet that there's no numbers in, they'll come from Rick, it's just, the columns are, entity, number of buildings, electric use, electric cost, fuel gallons, fuel cost, and then town, schools, and total. So that's, hopefully now we have those numbers.
Well,
Now,
yeah, which Rick
I
is,
don't have those
ahead.
numbers.
I think he does.
Rick has.
It's in that book there.
It's in these
The
back
question is how well he's aggregated it, but he
Yeah,
seems to know.
exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of material there.
I
Yeah.
must have asked him that
He
question.
does have it, and I think they have it.
It's aggregated? Okay.
It's,
Yeah,
seems like
he's-
it's pretty much there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, he's got totals for,
Well, he put it
And I'm
on.
gonna give these,
Fine.
and you can give them back to me, to Mike. in
I
case
don't,
you-
I don't want them because I'm
Well,
gonna, I
let's
am
see.
leaving for Europe.
Oh, you're
for 3
leaving.
weeks.
Oh, is this the,
Yeah.
No, it's his first slide.
Go down, go down.
Electric, keep going down, yep. So is that what you're talking about, that the total?
That
Yeah.
wasn't given to us by Rick, that was given to us by the town.
You talking about
Justin did that.
Oh,
total
Justin
usage,
did
Martha?
that.
Total usage? Is that what you're talking about, total mega,
I think this is it right here, if you guys wanna
Okay.
take a look at it, it's this.
Cost, KW, all of
It's this
that,
top thing here,
it was 1.5.
annually.
I think that's it.
1.5
Copy of that.
cents
I need a copy of that.
Yeah,
million
yeah.
I showed
Yeah,
you.
kilowatts.
This is
Want me to just show it?
electricity, but it doesn't say
Yeah,
anything
that would
about
be good, you
fuel,
know.
It doesn't
Well,
say
this
those.
is what I've got,
Right, I don't
I
know,
think
Fuel.
might be part of it, this is
What
the
what do we need
electricity
fuel for?
part of it.
well, because you could,
Or what?
That's
The
what they
conversion to
aggregated
from-
out,
Yeah,
yeah,
the use, the cost,
What
the
the annual
school, the
cost
town.
is
Oh,
I don't
for
know.
town buildings.
conversion from fuel to
Which,
electricity.
wait a minute,
Yeah,
that's what looks a little odd to me, wait a
in
minute.
other words, replace a
How come school
propane heater
building
with
is
a
that
heat
less?
pump.
Right,
Wait a minute.
that's why
For
I,
electric consumption, I don't know.
We're talking about 4 school buildings here.
we're going off the tangents all over the place.
You know,
All right, we gotta rein it back in.
are we shutting
I
down?
wanted to get those figures. And I kept asking, and he never gave them to me, but he'd point to these books, so
You know, by the way,
hopefully.
They're in
They
those
might be
books.
in there, they might be in there.
We'll find them.
you know more
Um,
about this. than-
So we'll get those numbers for you,
Okay.
and that will fill in that
And
page
you-
for the
you
chart,
can
correct?
be.
that's, but that's.
Yes.
what
Okay.
I
Next.
know, I
Next-
understand, I understand, I
The,
understand.
this chart.
But you know some, you know some
Guys.
people.
Demand
Yeah.
and supply.
I'm sorry.
Demands.
We were
can-
having a conversation.
You can go to Coffee Berries and have a conversation.
Right,
Really? I thought this was the appropriate place.
No, so let's listen to Mike. Go ahead,
Okay.
All
Mike.
right, next slide is energy,
did you
it's
get
called
this from?
energy efficiency. Says the cheapest electricity is electricity you do not use. Efficiency starts with an energy audit, and having listened to the presentations tonight, I'm of two minds as whether an energy audit is appropriate, because our staffs seem to have been doing a lot of the
Due diligence.
the work.
Yeah.
The question is, could an outside auditor give us a bigger picture, do some of this, recommend ways to combine things between school and town that are difficult for town and school employees respectively to do because they are in their own silos. So, you know, that's something I think for people to think about and decide, do we want to do an energy audit? I think I told you last time that there's these 3 levels, and we would be talking about the first level, which is a very cursory look around and figure out where the low-hanging fruit is, and then go back and look more deeply. My feeling is that a lot of that work has already been done. that-
Well, exactly,
So,
there you go. I mean,
don't
we,
think- I
we
don't
need to
believe
find
we
that
need
out.
An energy audit, from the data that we've been collecting. I really think most of it's done.
So think of that as a placeholder.
Okay.
Next, just, it's
Excuse me a
just,
second, excuse me, Mike,
yeah.
forgive me. Well, the energy audit is the first thing we need to do, because it's gonna determine how many megawatts we're gonna need in this solar panel array. We've looked at LED lighting for all of the town facilities, I don't know about the school. In order to go forward with this project, we must have the school on board with us to combine it.
Yeah,
But
right.
has anyone looked at, in this energy audit, windows, insulation, equipment usage, that
I
type?
believe all of that for the school is done, because they just did a maintenance, that's what Alan told us, who sits on the board with us from the
Okay.
school.
Okay,
They just finished and compiled
How about the
the
town?
assessment of the buildings. Dave seems to think that we have it done for the town and that it's somewhere. So it's just a matter of finding it.
okay.
Although the coverage that I saw, if we're talking about the same audit over at the schools, was more educational needs than it was physical plant.
No, it was the buildings maintenance. They had a building,
Okay, might just be a different study.
yeah, they had a building study.
I'll take your word for it. Okay.
No, because that's where that whole thing came in. That's why those TANA people are looking at replacing all the buildings. What?
oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll leave
All
that
right.
at it as it is.
Next bullet, audits usually occur in phases. An initial low-cost audit to identify low-hanging fruit, a more expensive follow-up audit to assess whether an opportunity is worth pursuing, and a potential detailed audit that includes contracting. So they become the contractor to make this stuff happen. The next, now we're getting into the more policy-oriented ones where, it really we need to come to a consensus on some of this stuff. So the next one is titled Whom to Serve. Should the town become an energy provider for all residents, community solar? Should the town focus on municipal buildings only? Offering energy to residential, commercial, and industrial entities may create economies of scale and reduce risk, but may be initially more complex. So this is really more an invitation, I think, to the public and to counselors to, kind of weigh in on the pros and cons of this.
Yep.
But that's there to provoke some discussion. Next slide is entitled Fundamental Choices for Solar Electric. And the choices really are between power purchase agreement or municipal ownership / bonding. Power purchase agreement uses investors who own panels and sell electricity to the town. Power purchase agreement investors get renewable energy credits and depreciation. The municipality is not eligible for either, reducing kilowatt hour rate charge to the town. Town can buy panels from power purchase agreement investors, typically after depreciation ends. No upfront costs to town with a power purchase agreement. Power purchase agreement investors assume risk and maintenance. This is the story that we've gotten from some of the people who appeared before us. Town ownership has large upfront costs, but may be cheaper in the long run. And then the final bullet, use electricity savings to make bond payments. So that's, those last two bullets are the other side of the argument, that if you have the town own it, you pay more upfront, but you aren't sharing the advantages with anybody else. And if you can bond that work and then take the savings you make from the solar array to pay off the bond, you potentially could come ahead. Again, it's a matter of running the numbers. What's the solar array really going to cost? What's the payback? What's the bond rate, et cetera? Next slide is called Fundamental Choices for Townwide Energy. Town-managed contracts or outside management, i.e. Freedom Energy Logistics or the CCA. So town-managed contracts or outside management using the recent legislation, community power, to buy and sell power to residents. Enter into agreement with a for-profit energy management firm to oversee purchase of energy. That's the path we're going on right now with
Right.
Freedom Logistics. Or join the New Hampshire Community Power Coalition, a nonprofit group of 19 towns cooperating to manage energy production and finance. May not be available until a term of contract with Freedom Logistics. I couldn't remember who that was.
And I think that Freedom Logistics there, not Freedom, the community one, had said that they would buy and reuse our energy somehow or another.
Yeah, well, they could. I mean, like so I said earlier, if our array, if we have an array, could sell into the community power
Aggregate,
group.
which would lower the
And then-
cost for the residents of the town.
Well, yeah,
If-
yeah.
if-
I mean,
if
we'd
it-
be getting.
If it went
you'd-
through.
Proposed to
You'd
the
be getting
resident.
paid
If you
for
make
it.
too much.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So if we put in this 5 thingy one
Right.
and we only use 3 and there's 2 left over, that potentially could go back to some of it. to
But-
the
Or you
residents.
sell it all to the community power and then
They
you
sell
know,
it.
put the money in your pocket and then you
To
sell
pay
it to
off
pay
the-
your bill.
To pay off the array.
But in this section, that raises the issue that we talked about earlier about the freedom contract that's in place. It
Right.
forbids us from talking to any other
Right.
aggregators, so we have to talk about that in that
Right,
section
well, we need
too.
first to follow through on John's advice to get an update from the town
The town
manager.
manager. Who's
he-
gonna do
he-
that?
what-
Let's talk about that.
I can do that because I've talked to him about it before.
Okay.
But not in the next 3 weeks. So maybe Deb, you should do that, you could just easily do it. He was gonna make an update to the council, I think at the last meeting before last,
And it went too long.
and it went too long and he never got to do it. And I know that he had an upcoming meeting with I think it's the company that owns Freedom Electric, it has a different name.
I can reach out to Mike, I don't have a problem, and ask
Yeah.
him, you
Yeah,
know,
so
what's the
where are we at?
status?
Right.
what's the status?
I know that his feeling is, the council would like us to advise them on,
Right.
you know, which way to go, and so, you know, we should do that as part
We
of
should,
our
correct.
duties.
Yep.
Okay, continuing on, either approach relieves burden on town or school staff and reduces project risk, because it's somebody else that's running the show. Or manage power purchases with existing or added staff, set ourselves up as a power company, basically, which
No,
is fraught.
no.
We don't wanna go that way.
Right. But I'm trying to give them the whole story here.
They should have all the choices on the
Absolutely.
And
menu.
then, second to last slide is solar potential at the Auburn Road landfill. More than sufficient land area to meet municipal needs. Requires
school.
special but doable techniques to protect the integrity of the landfill cap. Site does not have access to a three-phase power line on which to export energy. Extending three-phase power up to 1 mile is $1 million per mile investment.
Yep.
Including the school's requirements increases the size of the project, spreading costs of the power line upgrade over more users. Next steps. Fill in the missing electric and fuel usage data. Maybe we've got that done. Get estimates for energy audits and key buildings. I don't know if we want to, it seems like we could just get an estimate, just to, you know, have that data to present
So
to
we
the
can
council.
send that
Well, we-
question
well,
to Wally and Alan.
Okay, we talked about that early on too, and I thought,
Yeah,
Doug,
what-
you were going to find out if we could get some kind of energy audit. Not a full energy audit, but a,
What I'm hearing that the town has done one, right?
Schools at
We
least.
I don't know if we've done an energy audit. I know we did LED lighting.
Well,
in
we
the
had New
building.
Hampshire Saves
Why
come.
don't, why don't we find out?
New Hampshire Saves is what does the audit.
Yeah, they've come.
Oh,
And it really is just about the LEDs, and it's not the windows.
Well,
and-
they do look at windows and insulation, but, and then they make a recommendation, like if there's leakage coming in or, you know.
Right.
I think they
And I
concentrate on
think
attics
it was
too,
Wally
because
that
that's
said it. That's why I said, I think we should send that
attics are a
question
source of leaks as
directly
well.
Oh,
to
yeah,
Wally
absolutely.
and to Alan, school and town, and say, we want those results.
of the
That
energy
question,
audit.
he just, yeah.
Wasn't an energy audit done here? And Rick said before the meeting, he was gonna
Yeah,
add
he
on
being
a
alive.
few more columns to
Yeah.
produce the results for
Look at the engine
a year.
usage for the
a
library.
year's time frame. So it brings us up to date.
Right.
Yeah, but
We've already got, this is just town.
well, that's really, I don't know, but by an audit, we mean,
Municipal.
you know,
I understand.
improvements. What we've got there is a aggregation of
Usage.
data. Yeah, right, exactly.
All right,
But that
What-
addresses my question earlier,
Oh.
and I thought it was decided that we pretty much,
Why is
the
that so
town has
high?
done pretty much enough of energy auditing. So let's move on, right? That's what I
Right.
heard.
Well, yeah, but I think your comment should have more weight earlier, which is that,
Yeah.
that is the first step. you
Yes.
know, and unless we can determine that we have already taken that step, which I'm not convinced of.
On that
then
either.
Okay.
Okay,
we
well,
ought to
we'll
get
ask.
the estimate.
We'll
All
ask.
right,
All right, so wait a minute.
Bear with me, I got 4
I need
lines.
someone to clean this up for 1 second. Who is gonna ask directly, Dave Wally and the school maintenance guy, Alan, yes or no, do you have an energy audit? Has it been recent, and can we get a copy of it?
Okay, results,
Seems like he's got the,
recent.
Mike's got the feel,
Well,
right?
yeah, but I'm not gonna be here.
He's not gonna be here
I'm
for the
leaving.
meeting.
No, I,
tomorrow.
I'll do it.
Martha's already working with the lady from the school. The girl was
I'll
here.
do it.
I
I
just,
Right.
I just wanted to be
Okay,
clear,
so
so for the
give me,
minutes.
give me the thing again, results, recent, and,
When the last audit was done, and the results from those audits, and what action items were taken.
And how complete it was.
What period of time?
complete. Okay,
And then this way, we ask in both parties the same exact question, and that would fill that blank box
Right.
on his
okay,
presentation.
I'm taking that on.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
See, the answer to that would determine if we can save on those aspects of the energy audit, whether it be windows, insulation, or whatever, insulating doors and whatever, that would reduce the amount of kilowatt hours or kilowatts used, which would go towards determining how many kilowatts or megawatts we need for the solar panel array, correct?
Right, right,
It all figures into that aspect of it.
right.
So that's why we necessarily need that energy audit.
The audit, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna find out if we've got such a thing, and if so, can I have the piece of paper that they gave you? Right? Okay,
Keep in mind, you go out for an energy audit, that costs money. You gotta go and get approved for that first.
Oh,
You
yeah,
gotta
well,
go
these
to
are,
the
these
town
are,
council.
yeah, these are all recommendations. We don't
Yeah,
do
we're just
anything.
recommending. If they
Right.
come back that we don't have one or they're old and it really
Yeah.
should be done
Yeah,
again,
we can
we
recommend.
can recommend it, they
Yeah.
can say no.
right.
And that's all there is to
But
it.
let's figure out what's been done already.
That's what,
Okay.
that's what we said.
And
We're good.
I hadn't asked that question as specifically as this, and I will.
Okay, great.
If we do have to have, the town has to have a contractor, there is mention in all this paperwork that I have about this company out of Massachusetts that does a great job of energy auditing. I have no ties with them, but it's mentioned in all the paperwork, and I can come up with that name at a later date, that can conduct this type of energy, like they have a little smoke thing that they produce to show if there's leakage in the windows and doors. It also tells if there's loss of inert gas between the window panes and so on, so for insulation purpose and so on, so forth. At the appropriate time, I can find that name in case
Okay.
we need to do that.
We're good. Ready, Mike?
So I'm really ready.
Okay.
The next step is receive and evaluate proposals from solar installers, and then get input from staffs to inform long-term energy strategy. You know, which is kind of what you've been doing. You know, Dave's got his plan for integrated, the controls, et cetera. Evaluate relative merits of community energy program. And then the objective, develop and present data-driven recommendations to the town council for implementation.
I think that this is excellent.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I didn't really send any comments on it, because I thought, wow, this sort of sums up
Well,
everything.
I felt the same way, that
really
he did a good
succinctly,
job. And-
But what we didn't have was the plug-in of those numbers. And
Right, so that's what we
I kept
told
trying
her
to
to get.
get that, and I never got it.
Well, now we know, we'll focus.
But if somebody else has to go through all those books and tally it up,
I think we can send an email to, I think, he would definitely help us. If we would direct with the question, we need the
You do
exact, that's fine. We'll do the exact numbers, this is what I need, please send it to me.
okay, very good.
I don't need anything but this.
He's gonna need those books probably to answer you, but
Yeah, well, what I was thinking, I mean,
Or you can
Ray,
tell
you're
me where to
pretty
go to
savvy
find it.
with this stuff. Would you be willing to take his book, see what you can pull out of it, and then when I get back, you can tell me what you think, and I'll go through it, and between the two of us,
I'm willing to help anybody, but I don't think I have the capability to even determine what's in there. Wait a minute, I've looked at some of that, right? We're talking about KW usage, KW hours, we're talking about cost figures, we're talking about amounts of fuel used, gallons, liters, whatever.
Right.
There's so much in there that I don't think I have the ability to do that, to be honest with you. I'm pretty willing to help.
well, we're at the risk of how thorough a job Rick did at aggregating the data. I think he's got it all the supporting data is there. The question is there the sheet on top that aggregates it for them? What he showed us, I think was pretty close to what we need,
Yeah.
just on that slide. So I hoping that isn't that big of a mountain to climb. But I'm telling you, I'm not putting my climbing boots on for 3 weeks.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
But I think
look,
the first step is, let me get a hold of Rick and say, can I get that PowerPoint thing that he had, the plug, that he couldn't plug in,
Yeah, right.
the thumbnail? Can you send those documents to me? Then I can share them with you guys. You can tell me, yes, that's what we need. No, we need this. I can go back to Rick and say, Rick, we need this. And hopefully Rick can get us that data. Or at least say, Deb, go to the white book, go into this section, it's right there, and I can grab it.
didn't
I
Rick,
think that would be the most efficient use of time. Right?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, didn't Rick get most of that information from Justin?
Justin and and Carl.
Okay,
There's both school and town in there.
okay, so
But I
if
haven't
you
looked
still
at
have questions,
I haven't looked at the books. He knows where things are. I think that that's the easiest thing to do. Just to quickly just say, where is it?
Yeah, I mean, it might be obvious. I haven't been in there.
Yeah.
I,
All right, so that looks like it's perfect. We've got some mission statements to do.
that's why I would move.
And when do you think, I know this next meeting is gonna be pretty busy, so, and we won't have our stuff together, and I would assume, you know, it would be kind of crazy in September with elections. So do we wanna wait to the last meeting in September or the first meeting in October to present?
We're only meeting once a month. Oh, you mean the council meeting?
Yeah, when do you think we might be prepared to present this?
We're gonna get into the thick of budget season. It's certainly, we're not gonna be ready for at the end of September, because that's,
Okay.
like, I will have been back a week.
No, I'm just trying to gauge that because that's important.
What about the first, town council meeting in October?
About the second,
Yeah,
Oh, second,
I like the second.
The second,
second?
Yeah, and I would like to let the town manager look at this
I would too. I'd
report
like him to
before
review
we
it.
voice it, because there's a gazillion homework assignments for him in this.
there are a gazillion homework assignments in this for us?
No,
for
for,
Meg.
well, for him, because the council's gonna look and say, well, you know, this is what we think, now, go check this out.
Oh, okay.
I think the question is, how detailed do you want to present to the
Right.
town council? I
Right.
mean, you
We
can
don't need to be
present all
wicked
kinds of
detailed,
stuff to
but we
them.
do need to
Yeah.
get,
Huh?
we need to be detailed enough to get the council
To
to move in a
focus.
direction.
Right.
Yeah, right, we need some guidance. And that was how I designed this, was to really make it as brief as I could, but still provoke the discussion that we need to hear on, you know,
Correct.
get some direction.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're not talking about getting bid proposals from 3 or 4 different developers.
Not yet.
No,
No, we need to have them
think so.
say, go out and find 3 or 4
We wanna move
developers,
forward with-
or forget about it, you know, whatever they say.
right.
Well, we have to provide them with enough ammunition so that they
Right.
say, okay,
Yeah, this
yes,
makes sense, right.
let's go out.
Exactly.
And what about the grant money?
Well, we don't even have to look at that until that we know what direction to, Bob got some of the information together,
Okay,
but we can't go after anything until we know what the council wants to do. Do we want to go after an energy audit? Do we need to go after an energy audit? We don't know. Do we want to go to solar panels or we don't want to go to solar panels? We don't know. If they say, we find out that we need an energy audit, then we say, okay, let's go get the grants for the energy audit, try to find them. And then if they say, yes, continue finding out more about the solar array and how we can connect and this and that, then we take steps forward. We need direction from them. We did some of the basic work, and all of that stuff will come into play later on again. I mean, it's not like that work was done for nothing.
okay.
It's just, it's the primer. It's the primer before we put the paint on.
Okay, but the biggest thing that this committee has to be charged with now is filling in those numbers on that slide.
Getting those answers.
And my job here of talking to Dave Woolley.
And my job of getting the numbers from Rick.
Okay,
And so once
Okay.
those are in and they go to Mike, Mike will have the ability to put that presentation together. Then we get on the agenda. Well, we send it to the town manager.
yeah,
He goes through it, probably comes back with a few questions here and there.
okay.
And then we get on the agenda and we do the presentation. And then I don't know where it's gonna fall.
Okay, and who's gonna follow up with Mike Malaguti about the status of what's going on with Freedom?
I thought Mike said,
No, Mike's going away, he said.
but I thought he said he was gonna talk to Mike.
No.
I can talk to him, it doesn't matter.
I don't mind doing that
You've
either.
had volunteered to do it. I could
I'll
just
do
send
it.
him an email,
Yeah,
and then I'll copy you, Deb, and
Okay.
then, you'll,
Because I know that you and Mike have been already going, kind of communicating on that, because I've been CC'd on it. So I
Right.
kind of know that they've,
Yeah.
kind of where it stands.
Where are you going? Are you going on vacation?
I am.
Good. Where are
And
you
I will
going?
only have infrequent internet access.
Where are you going?
That's a little personal.
Tahiti.
Really?
No, mostly the UK.
Nice.
Yeah, a little bit of time in Norway.
Okay.
Good.
Couple of housekeeping things. Public, anybody in the public have any questions for what they've heard at the meeting or concerns, or would like to tell us something, or like to introduce themselves, or would like to say anything, please walk up to the chair, state your name, and have at it.
That seems like a little bit of an invitation.
It is.
It is.
It is. We don't know you yet.
And you never will.
Oh, that's too bad. We were looking forward to getting to know you.
My name is Janice Harvey. My mother knows Deb, kind of led me towards this committee because I have a very strong interest in environmental protection and green energy and all that loveliness. So, yes, I am very interested. I've been taking excessive quantities of notes because I never really quite left my college years behind me.
I wish I could say that.
Yeah, my current company loves it because I take all their meeting minutes.
Well, Ron will get excited about that.
Yeah.
She is looking to maybe become part of the board.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yes, that is
So-
an interest of mine. So anything that I can do to help the lovely town of Londonderry, which my family's been a part of for 150 years, to go towards a greener future, Liz.
They were on the trolley.
Yes.
Oh,
My mother
excellent.
and my elder sister.
Excellent. Oh, I met
Perhaps-
them, yes.
Yes,
That's-
Perhaps she
probably.
could bring all her friends over to the town council meeting where we do the presentation.
Oh, I
You can all
have.
Step up to the mic and say, we want this.
I have several people I've already warned that if I do this, I'm going to be dragging them along whether they like it or not.
It's good. It's good. We'd love tapping into young people because
We need public participation.
Yes.
Well, I didn't even know that this council existed, and that was my own neglect. I'm sorry about that. But now
Well-
that I know, I'm very interested.
No, that's excellent.
Everybody's busy.
Good.
Nope. So I did want you to come up and say hi,
Hi.
and don't be
Nice to
afraid.
meet you.
Good. Thanks for your
So
interest.
we just we don't really have minutes to accept. Excuse me. Oh, Ann, did you want to say something? Yes. Well, come on up. We're very welcoming here. Well, I didn't see you raise your hand.
Well, I was,
Oh, you were waiting.
She has to say who she is.
Courteous.
Who are you?
Ann Champa, 28 Wedgewood.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you had talked about it at any of our meetings. I've been in quite a few, but I was wondering if parking lots, sports fields, street lights, and the library were considered.
Yes,
All the above?
all the
Yeah,
above.
all of the above.
Okay, just want to know. Thank you so much.
Good to know that you're staying on top of
And the
stuff.
streetlights in town.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
All right, so we don't really have minutes, but I was looking at September 22nd for a meeting. Again, I don't know exactly what we'd be going through. It'd probably be just the data again.
Maybe see if we got answers to our homework.
There's a what meeting?
There's a DOT meeting for 4A
Oh, so maybe we'll
When?
skip September.
Huh?
on the 22nd.
Oh, we can't do that.
What's
No.
Running Brook School?
Yeah.
I would like to go to the DOT thing, though.
Yeah, I've been asking that question and have not got a response
Just come
yet.
out today.
Well, let's take a census. Do we want to skip September and work on what we were assigned? Or, and have our meeting early in October to prepare for our meeting in late October for the council meeting? Or have a September meeting on a different date?
I vote for September on a different date.
About the 15th,
Of September?
Thursday before.
If this place is available?
I can't come on the 15th, but
I will still be jet lagged. I won't be able to do anything in preparation for it, so.
Yeah, so what would we be
what
covering
about
at
the
that meeting?
29th? What's the 29th?
Well, that's what I was saying, the end of September, beginning October might be best, and then, because we'll have another we have the October, oh, my eyeball, it's twitching. What do you call it?
Presentation.
So what do you
Okay.
think? last week in September, first week in October.
And Bob, you're saying that you think we need 2 meetings before the presentation?
I really do, to really have a good presentation and make sure
Right.
we covered everything.
Right,
The stronger the presentation, the better off we're gonna be.
right, I kind of agree with that.
So
And whether we have to do different dates or whatever, that's okay with me.
I mean, we could, oh no, that's the DOT. It's up to you guys. I'm gonna leave it up to you. And hopefully this room's available on that date. We do have budget meetings, you know when those are, Ron?
Yep. Right now, there's nothing scheduled on the town website.
What day of the week is the 29th?
Thursday.
It's a
Yeah,
Thursday,
I mean, we should stick with Thursday because it seems to work for most people.
Yeah.
okay?
How's the 29th for everybody?
So far.
I'll
Doable?
So
I'll
far.
check my retirement calendar.
If you can't make it, I'll be very upset. So the 29th is good. September 29th, 7 PM, this same spot. We'll just be tweaking our presentation because we're done gathering, for the most part, the data. And that's that.
For that meeting to be successful, though, I need to get the inputs that were promised.
Before September
So that I can
29th.
incorporate them and give you a new version of the,
presentation. and
So I
hopefully-
think that the information that I get about energy audit, I will email it to you, so you know, have it as soon as I get it, and you should do the same with the numbers.
yeah, and I think all I probably need is if we get the info off the thumb drive that Rick had tonight, that's probably what,
That's what I think. It's
What I
just a
need.
call. So I really got
So you
basically
get
just
that-
2 calls to make.
yeah,
And you're gonna email that to everyone?
The thumbnail?
you should.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
So if Bob wants to have 2 meetings, though, remember that only allows us the 6th and the 13th for the presentation. Gives us 2 weeks. Because the next town council meeting is on the 17th of October.
What's the last one of the month?
The 17th, you got town council on the 3rd and the 17th.
Oh.
So just keep that in mind. If we don't meet on the 15th, it's gonna be 1 meeting.
Good point. And you can't, Martha, you can't be there, up here?
On the 15th, I have a problem, but I can get my information that I'm working on before that time, so.
The 15th is a Thursday,
Yes.
so why do we have to have it on a Thursday?
It's just
Well, we just said that that
It's
convenient.
the majority of the
Not
people.
much else scheduled.
Yeah, there's not much else going on in town on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday, this room is pretty much empty on every Thursday, for the most part. And so that's why we picked Thursday, because it's convenient.
Okay, didn't know that.
But
So-
budget was in there for a while, and that should be getting pretty active soon, budget.
Yeah.
But there's nothing scheduled at the moment, so we'll go by what's on the calendar.
Well, we don't have to
And we
commit
don't have to
to
meet
a-
in this room at that Thursday. We could meet in the small room, because it really doesn't need to be videotaped. It could be recorded, and if we wanted to, it's a smaller room, so it would make it easier.
We also don't need to obligate ourselves to a specific town council meeting ahead of time.
That's
Okay.
We can take an assessment of where we're at on the 22nd and then decide.
Okay. Is everybody good with that?
Well, just clarification, are we gonna meet on the 15th?
No.
I thought we were meeting on the 29th.
29th, yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
So we'd only do 1 meeting before the presentation.
Well, we can
might not-
push out the
We
presentation.
push out the presentation.
If we feel that it's not ready and it's not good, we'll just push it out.
That makes sense.
The 29th.
Yep.
29th.
September
I got it.
29th. Okay, does anybody wanna say anything else? Otherwise, I can have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to
I'll
adjourn.
second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. The meeting is now over.